Okay, team. So, this is an experiment. I've got a couple of minutes at work. I bought you this, and it should have got delivered to the house. Right now, it's at number 8, so someone can go and pick it up. But we're going to read it, so I'm going to start now. Okay. Welcome to the world of the Midnight Gang. This is the Lord Flunt Hospital in London, England. It was built many years ago, and it should have been demolished many years ago. The hospital was named in honour of the founder, the late Lord Flunt. So there's a picture of it. See, it's really big. Let's have a look inside. So what we can see here, oh, this is difficult. Basement. There's a gift shop. The Queen's office. Nellie's ward is a hospital, right? Raj's ward. These are all people, I guess. They all hang out at midnight. Okay. And then this is the children's ward, and this is the pharmacy. So if you've got this book, so you can just look at that page. I'm going to keep reading. Meet the patients in the ward. Meet the patients in the children's ward, high up on the 44th floor. This is Tom. He's 12, and he goes to a posh boarding school. He's hurt his head. That's Tom. He's got a sore head. Amber is 12. She's broken both of her arms and both of her legs, and she's been in a wheelchair for some time. Robin is also 12. He's recovering from an operation to save his eyesight, and for now he cannot see a thing. That's them too. George is 11 and from the East End of London, which makes him a Cockney. He's recovering from having his tonsils taken out in an operation. That's him. And Sally is just 10. She's the youngest of the group. Because she's so ill, she spends most of her time sleeping. I mean, she looks pretty ill. She's got like funny marks on her face. Downstairs, in the grown-ups ward, is the oldest patient in the hospital, 99-year-old Nellie. It's Nellie. Hundreds of people work at the Lord Flunt Hospital. Among them are a porter. He's a lonely figure, whose real name is a complete mystery. His job is to move people and things around the hospital, which he never seems to leave. Matron, despite running the children's ward, doesn't like children at all. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. And then Dr. Luppers. He's just become a doctor and is rather easy to fool. That's him. Tootsie is the hospital's dinner lady. She brings round meals on a trolley to all the patients. It's a little bit of black stereotyping there, to be honest, but we'll let it go for now. Nurse Mies is a tired-looking nurse who never seems to get a night off work. She's got a miserable face. I don't like her already. Dilly is one of the hospital cleaners, and you can tell where she's cleaned because there'll be a long trail of fag ash and the smell of cigarettes. Because she's a smoker, which is disgusting. Never do it. And Dr. Cod is an old chemist. He's got a hearing aid and thick glasses, and he runs the pharmacy. You see him? Sir Quentin Strillers is an upper-class hospital principal. He's in charge of everyone and everything. It's just like it's off. And from the outside of the hospital, there's Mr. Thews, the headmaster of Tom's school, Sir Willet's boarding school for boys. I'm guessing that's a picture of the children's ward. Doesn't look very nice. Midnight is the time when all the children are fast asleep, except, of course, for the Midnight Gang. That's the time when their adventures are just beginning. Chapter 1. The Monster Man. I'm not going to finish this, but we'll give it a go. Monster Man. Ah! Screamed the boy. The most monstrous face he'd ever seen was peering down at him. It was the face of a man, but it was completely lopsided. One side was larger than it should have been, and the other was smaller. The face smiled as if to calm the boy down, only to reveal a set of broken and rotten teeth, and this made the boy even more scared than before. Ah! He screamed again. You'll be all right, young sir. Please try to be calm, slurred the old man. I guess that's the old man's scary face. His face was so misshapen, and so was his speech. Who was this man, and where was he taking the boy? It was only then the boy realized he was lying on his back, staring straight up. He felt almost as if he was floating, but something was rattling. He was rattling. The boy realized he must be lying on a trolley, and the trolley with wonky wheels. His head clouded with questions. Where was he? How did he get here? Why couldn't he remember a thing? And most importantly, who was this terrifying man monster? The trolley travelled slowly down the corridor, and the boy could hear the sound of someone being dragged along the floor. It sounded like a squeak of a shoe. He looked down, and the man was limping. Just like his face, one side of his body was smaller than the other. My face is a little bit like that. So the man was dragging his withered leg along, and it looked like every movement was very painful. Bang! A pair of tall doors swung open, and the trolley trundled into the room and came to a stop. Then some curtains were drawn around the boy. I hope it wasn't too uncomfortable, young sir, said the man. The boy thought it was curious that this man called him sir. He'd never been called sir before. He was only 12, and sir was a title reserved only for teachers at his boarding school. Now you wait here. I'm just a porter. Let me get the nurse. Nurse! As he lay there, the boy felt strangely disconnected from his own body. He felt limp and lifeless. The pain, though, was in his head. It was throbbing. Hot. The feeling could be a colour. If the feeling could be a colour, it would be red. A bright, hot, raging red. The pain was so intense he closed his eyes, and when he opened them, he realized he was staring straight up at a bright fluorescent light. This made his head ache even more than before. And then he heard the sound of footsteps approaching. The curtain was whisked back. A large older lady in a blue and white uniform with a hat leaned over and examined the boy's head. Dark circles framed her bloodshot eyes. Grey, wiry hair squatted on her head, and her face was red raw. It was as if she'd scrubbed it with a cheese grater. In brief, she had the appearance of someone who had not slept for a week and was angry about it. Oh, dearie me. Oh, dearie, dearie me. Oh, dearie, dearie, dearie me, she muttered at no one in particular. In his confused state, the boy took a moment to realize that the woman was in fact dressed as a nurse. At last the boy realized where he was. A hospital. He'd never been to one before, except the day he was born, and he couldn't remember that. The boy's eyes drifted up to the lady's name on the badge. Nurse Mees, Lord Funt Hospital. That's a bump. A big bump. A very big bump. Now does it hurt? She said as she poked the boy hard on the head with a finger. Ow! He screamed. So loudly it echoed down the corridor. Ow! 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 Some slight pain, muttered the nurse. Now just let me get the doctor. Doctor! The curtain was whisked across and then back again, and the boy lay there staring at the ceiling. He couldn't hear the sound of footsteps departing. Doctor! She barked down the corridor now and again. Some way down the corridor. Coming, nurse, came a voice from far off. Quickly! She shouted. Sorry, said the voice. There was a sound of footsteps approaching at speed. The curtain was whisked back, and a young, pointy-faced man breezed in, his long white coat trailing behind him. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, announced the posh voice. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. It was a doctor, and he was somewhat out of breath, having had to run. Looking up, the boy read the man's badge, Dr. Luppers. That is a big bump. Does it hurt? Okay, I have to go to a meeting now. That's the end of the page. I'm going to fold it over. I'm on page 31, and we will pick up next time I get a minute. Bye.